The COVID-19 lockdown is having profound effects on all of us. Of course it is. I think the important thing, though, is to think about the effects it's having on precarious workers in the global supply chain. I'm thinking in particular here of industries like the global fashion industry, where normally there's something like about 60 million workers producing clothes in factories that then end up in the store that you and I then buy. Now, obviously with the lockdown, many of those stores are closed, even many online platforms are suspended. There's simply not the volume of orders that there once was, which means that those factories are laying off workers or suspending workers. And these are workers which lack even very basic protections. They might be workers who don't have contracts, they don't have a permanent job, they're precarious workers without even basic social protections such as health insurance and those sorts of things. We need to think about more creative ways of how to organise industries like the global fashion industry so that precarious workers are not left so vulnerable to shocks to the system like these. Now that might mean things such as rethinking our whole model of how fast fashion should operate so it doesn't demand such flexibility, and that flexibility doesn't fall on the heads of workers who then have to work in these very precarious ways, not knowing whether there's work from one day to the next. We also need to think about, in terms of that long-term solution, how brands can work with other actors to ensure that there's greater protections for workers that are sustainable over the long term. And that means ensuring that they do have health protection, other sorts of social protections, that they do have contracts, that they do have more permanent positions, so they're not left vulnerable to the sorts of things that we're seeing now around the COVID-19 outbreak.